here is your AI briefing for June 5th, 2026, with 12 stories. Story 1. Anthropic admits AI is learning to build better AI faster than expected. Anthropic says internal Claude logs show it generating most of its own code, suggesting faster than expected recursive improvement toward building better AI, raising oversight stakes. Researchers are seeing Claude write code that changes the very systems used to improve the model, tightening the feedback loop between model output and model development. That makes benchmarking, audit trails, and deployment controls more urgent for anyone building frontier systems. Claude writing most of Anthropic's code is less sci-fi breakthrough than admission that the company is already dogfooding its own liability. Story 2. TSMC struggles to keep up with AI demand. We can only support so much. TSMC CEO C.C. Wei said AI-related demand from American customers outstrips current capacity, limiting support despite U.S. factory expansion and exposing ongoing bottlenecks in leading-edge chip supply chains. The company is prioritizing advanced node production for its largest customers while adding tools and fabs to raise output. Chip makers and cloud providers face longer lead times and tighter allocations until new capacity comes online. AI demand is so hot, TSMC's US build-out still can't feed it, which means American customers get the bottleneck while the foundry cashes in on scarcity. Story 3. Google DeepMind CEO says, "We don't have much time to prepare for the new human era." DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis warned AI could arrive within a few years, urging faster preparation to mitigate societal risks as capability gains outpace governance readiness. Hassabis said systems with broad, human-level capability may emerge within a few years, compressing the window for safety planning. He tied that timeline to risks in governance, labor, and social stability if institutions lag behind the technology. Hassabis sells urgency with AGI-ass apocalypse language, but the concrete trade-off is ordinary: capability racing ahead while governance still moves at committee speed. Story 4. AI needs a brake pedal, warns Anthropic co-founder. Jack Clark of Anthropic warns that advanced AI may act with minimal human input, so AI systems need a brake pedal safety mechanism to halt runaway behavior. Clark says the safeguard should let operators interrupt a model before it can keep executing autonomously across tasks. He argues this becomes critical as systems move from chat tools to agents that can trigger real-world actions. Anthropic's brake pedal pitch is just a polite way of admitting the product roadmap now includes an emergency stop for systems nobody fully controls. Story 5. These LLMs are the best at resisting Russian propaganda. Estonian officials benchmarked dozens of LLMs against Russian strategic narratives, finding specific model families more resistant to manipulation and rerouting tactics used in disinformation campaigns. Officials tested whether models would echo Kremlin framing after prompt injections, jailbreak-style redirection, and persona shifts. The results help agencies choose systems less likely to amplify coordinated influence operations in Estonian language settings. A government disinfo benchmark is useful, but resisting propaganda mostly means the model avoided obvious bait on Estonia's chosen narratives, not that it can think critically. Story 6. Dashlane explains how attackers managed to download encrypted password vaults. Dashlane says attackers scaled password vault downloads by targeting many users, boosting success rates and exposing how the encrypted vaults could still be exfiltrated despite protection. Attackers appear to have automated access attempts across large account sets until they found accounts whose vaults could be downloaded. Dashlane says the vault contents remained encrypted, but the theft still created a high-value offline target for later cracking attempts. Dashlane's encrypted vaults still got hauled off in bulk, proving scale beats reassurance when attackers can brute force the user pool. Story 7. Nematron 3.5 Content Safety, Customizable Multimodal Safety for Global Enterprise AI. It evaluates text, images, and other inputs with policy hooks that can be configured separately for each customer and geography. Security teams can align enforcement to local rules and brand standards while keeping one shared model stack. Enterprise buyers get policy knobs and regional filters. while NVIDIA gets to sell safety as a feature instead of fixing model behavior upstream. Story 8. The Jane Goodall Institute has handwritten notes on 5 generations of chimps. AI is helping to preserve them. Jane Goodall Institute and AWS digitized handwritten notes spanning 5 chimp generations, creating preserved, searchable records that safeguard Goodall's decades of field research against physical decay. The archive covers decades of observations across 5 chimpanzee generations, including field notes that were previously accessible only in fragile handwritten form. Digitization preserves searchability and creates a durable research corpus for scientists, educators, and conservation groups. Digitizing Goodall's notebooks saves fragile chimp history, while AWS gets a tidy heritage washing win and researchers get searchable records instead of mold. Story 9. The LLM warnings Google fired Timnit Gebru over have all come true. After Google fired Timnit Gebru in 2020, the disputed harms she warned about, especially dataset-driven bias and safety failures in deployed language systems, materialized, prompting renewed scrutiny of LLM risk review processes by critics on HN. The episode sharpened criticism that Google ignored warnings about biased training data, hallucinations, and unsafe deployment in large models. It also turned Gebru's dismissal into a lasting case study in how organizational pressure can override AI risk governance. Google didn't just misread Timnit Gebru. The exact bias and safety failures she flagged became the bill for everyone else to pay. Story 10. Apple's revamped Siri will reportedly run on NVIDIA chips. Apple's revamped Siri is rumored to offload heavier inference to NVIDIA chips and Google's cloud, adding cloud-based compute to boost performance beyond the prior on-device setup. The plan shifts the assistant's most compute-heavy requests off-device to external infrastructure for faster responses. That would make Siri more dependent on third-party chips and cloud capacity than Apple's current approach. Siri's revamp sounds less like Apple magic and more like outsourced intelligence. With NVIDIA and Google eating the compute bill, Apple won't. Story 11. 1NZ sets new telco industry benchmark with UiPath, accelerating enterprise mobile provisioning from days to minutes. 1NZ and UiPath used UiPath Maestro to automate enterprise mobile provisioning with AI orchestration, cutting service setup from days to minutes and reducing operational complexity via unified automation plus agent-driven workflows. The automation standardizes provisioning across enterprise mobile orders, eliminating repeated handoffs between sales, operations, and fulfillment teams. 1NZ can activate service faster at scale while keeping process steps visible inside a single orchestration layer. Days to minutes provisioning is real for 1NZ's enterprise ops, and the losers are the manual handoffs UiPath keeps turning into a demo reel. Story 12. How courts are coping with a flood of AI-generated lawsuits. In Colorado, Magistrate Judge Maritza Braswell reviews stacks of unaffordable, unrepresented AI-generated filings daily, prompting courts to triage low-value cases and curb misuse of automated claims. Courts are increasingly sorting filings before judicial review, using dismissals, procedural screening, and tighter requirements to preserve limited staff time. The surge also burdens defendants and clerks with cases that often fail basic legal standards but still demand response. AI filings haven't democratized justice. They've handed Judge Braswell extra triage work while the weakest, cheapest cases flood the docket. That is the briefing for today.